Hey guys, welcome back to AFK Journey. In today's video, we're going to be talking about Tayleen's placing in the Pride Win tier list. But before we get into it, we are going to do a $100 giveaway in this video. I just announced the winner for the previous giveaway, so we are going to keep these rolling on with another giveaway in this one. So just be subscribed and leave a comment and you'll go into the draw. And that's pretty much all you got to do. And I announced the winner in a community post. So this one, I do have some thoughts that I want to add in, not just to Tayleen, but to other units as well in this tier list and their placings. We're going to look at all the different criteria and her placings in it, whether it be pre-EX, post-EX, deficit pushing, Dream Realm, battle drills, and PvP. All in all, my current thought is I think Tayleen is a well-balanced unit with potential future viability, but as the game stands right now, she's not the top priority for Celestial Hypergeans, but I will go through that all in a video in the coming days, going through my thoughts on priorities, especially for free-to-play players in Celestials and Hypergeans on what you might want to build. But yeah, that'll be another video in itself, so let's start checking out the tier list. The thing with this pre-EX thing is I think it gets a bit muddled between, are we talking about characters pre-EX, but when you've got the rest of your characters post-EX, or are we talking about them pre-EX when everyone's like, when you've got a whole team of low ascension? And that's where the haziness comes into it, because if we look at someone like Friesto, I think Friesto would be an absolutely amazing tank. I think he would be up there with Antandra. If you're looking at early stage, if you can just get your first Celestial Hypergene, everyone else is at either like Epic Plus, Legendary, then I think he's going to be an amazing tank for the early stages of the game. I mean, I honestly still use my single copy of Friesto on my account, which I've actually pushed. So, I mean, I think that kind of thing's interesting. Because when we look at something like Rainier, I don't think Rainier is a pivotal unit in the early game progression, if that's what we're looking at. Now, his single copy is amazing for Arena. His single copy is just ridiculous for Arena. And even in deficit pushing, even a single copy of him can be great for like teleporting that Euron, but you do lose the damage mitigation with the single copy. So there is that too. But I don't think for general progression in an early game, he falls into that category. I would say Rowan is definitely one that would swap with Rainier. It's kind of like Bryon. I don't see anyone raving about Bryon at a single copy with everyone else built up, but I don't really see anyone raving about him either. But once again, he's one that not many people will test because he doesn't have the viability elsewhere. But once again, Tayleen, I think this is a safe placement for her in the S tier. I really do want to test her out because in that early stages, normally what you're running is a tank, 3 supports, and a DPS, normally Cecilia or Floribel. And honestly, Floribel, in my opinion, after running up a fresh account, she should be S+. I think she is actually better than Cecilia in the early game. It's dupe for dupe wise, I think she's better. I just think she is much better in the early game for progression, so I would actually place her in the S+ tier personally. But yeah, I'm waiting to see, because normally you're running that 3 support. Normally it's like Coco, Smokey, Rowan, and then you're running a tank, whether it's Antandra or Brutus or Thorin, and then a DPS normally it's going to be Cecilia or what's her face, Floribel. And so from that position, I honestly think you could put Tayleen in as a DPS or as one of the support slots, and it would work incredibly well. So I am going to test that. I am really looking forward to testing it, but we'll have to wait and see. So that is pre-EX. Like I said, it's a bit of a muddled area. When we move into post-EX, having her at S tier, I think this is a really reasonable spot for her. Now, post-EX is also an interesting one, because let me actually read the criteria that they put here for post-EX. Characters at Mythic Plus. Yes, okay. So Mythic Plus, that definitely makes sense because she doesn't have the revive for a teammate at this point, so that she does lack that extra benefit of that because she does need Supreme for that, and I think this is a good rating. I think she is really, really usable at these areas. I don't know, I'd probably put her towards the top of this tier. Cassidy more comes in the deficit pushing, where you're using the Smoky Stall for repositioning in certain situations. I think there would be more teams in which you could place Tayleen in general, but overall I think this is a pretty safe type range. I would say in general she becomes better than Cecilia in deficit. Maybe Cecilia should drop down 1 tier for that, but besides that, I think everything else looks pretty decent here. When we look at post EX, yeah, like I have no issues with any of that. Maybe Granny would go up a smidge for me in post EX because we're not. No, but you're not looking at deficit yet. So that's, yeah, pretty much. I'm pretty happy with that placement. Some people would like it, see her better, but at Mythic Plus, I think that is a very, very safe placement for her. So moving into the deficit. As we can see here, she once again holds that S range. I do think this is fair. I have seen some people doing like mega deficit pushing with her as well. So some of the really big deficits. But I do think to be doing that with her, you also need the other units like Freyasto and stuff like that. And she is more of the complementary role, not the required role, if that makes any sort of sense. So I do think that is safe. But once again, I will keep talking to more of the Giga Sweats who are pushing those really high deficits and see if that changes. But I think right now, for now, S is a very safe rating for her over there in the deficit pushing. Dream Realm overall, they got here her. Actually, we'll come back to Dream Realm. We'll go through the others, and then we'll come back and finish the Dream Realm. Battle drills, yes. I've been using mine in battle drills. Every form of battle in battle drills, she just absolutely slaps at. She is fantastic for it. I absolutely love her in battle drills. I think she just absolutely holds that spot. There is no doubt about that. And that is her real shining spot, in my opinion. As we move into PvP, I'm not going to spend too long in battle drills because I know a lot of people don't stress about it. But if you have her built, use her over there. Even if you have her at one copy, she's going to be pretty decent in battle drills, in my opinion. And then we go into PvP. S+, I do think... I almost think we need to, like I don't know. I feel like S+, if Scarlita didn't exist, I feel like she would be like the top of the top. But because Scarlita does exist, it means that Talene gets pushed down a bit. So I think she'd be at the lower end of S+, just because she's got a hard counter in Scarlita. Because Scarlita just, like... Scarlita is that annoying unit where, yes, we have execute methods, and then reviving is supposed to be a way to, like, cheese around execute, but Scarlita has a cheese around the cheese around because she knocks them off the field and doesn't let them revive. So it's like this whole weird thing with Scarlita where she... Honestly, Scarlita feels like a character that should have been implemented, like, 6 months into the game's release, and then she would have been, like, a massive hype because, like, then we would have been at the stage when people are looking at PvP and then it's like, oh, this unit is that unit that counters everything that has set up the meta, whereas now we've got a meta with Scarlita from the start, and so it's really awkward. So like new characters come in, like Talene, who would have been giga hype, but she comes in and the counter is already available for her. Because when we look to execute, if we had, say, Odie is the only executor, well, Talene can counter that, so it's cool. But yeah, Scarlita just slaps. So I'd say low end of S, like S+ high. If enemies don't have Scarlita, S+ low, maybe S if they do have Scarlita, because it's just that hard counter. But let me know what you guys have been finding in PvP. I've been finding like my PvP has become a lot safer since I got Talene. So that is my thoughts there. And then as we go, like I said, we'll finish it off in Dream Realm. But for Dream Realm, we'll go into table mode and look at the generic rankings for each one that they've put in here. If we go into where's Talene? What order is this? Okay, there it is. There it is. Found it. Okay, so here you can see we've got the SSS. Okay, here's the ones. All right, Skyclops. Wait, let's put her up the top of it. So Skyclops S+, yes, she is amazing in Skyclops. I definitely agree. She can absolutely belt out the damage and just channel all battle. Croaker, she is surprisingly really good in. I saw some of the top-ranked teams using her, also using Freystos and stuff like that. But even for my count, she was definitely in my top teams as well for there. Necrodrakon, she was surprisingly good at. Now, definitely not going to be competing with anything like Rainy there, because it is not an optimized fight. But as a sustain unit for that battle, she actually works decently well. Snow Stomper, she's not so great at. Snow Stomper's cancelling of ultimates and stuff is just a bit troublesome. So that is where she kind of falls down. I did use her in my team there, but that is because she's one of my heavy invested units, and that is that. And Lone Gaze, which at the time of recording this is the one going on, she is absolutely amazing for it, the Lone Gaze, because she can just sit there and channel all day and keep everyone alive. It is fantastic. Pair her up with Smokey. If you're pairing her up with Smokey and Coco even, you're going better. But once again, as you get further, you have more units built. You will have different teams. But yeah, she's fantastic for that. And Alpha Bear, she's absolutely god-awful, because the problem is, if she died, and the same thing with Thorin, if they died and lost the lost the honey, they would be like, if she died and lost the honey, she would be so amazing for that fight. But unfortunately, she doesn't lose the honey when she dies, so she's absolutely useless in it. And that is basically it. So that is a look at the tier list for Talene. Like I said, I think she's pretty much a well-balanced unit across the board and incredibly fun to play, but she definitely is not taking up those top positions on your priorities for Celestials and Hypergens. I will do a whole video going through priorities in the coming few days and my thoughts around that. But anyway, that is a look at the tier list. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you have an awesome day, and I look forward to seeing the next one. Cheers.